shadows black. Echoes hum, no turning back. Windswept nights, the truth comes bare. Undo the chains that linger there. Dusty trails where secrets cling. Ghosts of past, they start to sing. Through the fire, the soul will go. The Summerland, a heavy show. River flows. Radical undoing, shed the guise, stripped to bone beneath the skies. In the hollow.
I was muted. Let me know how you like the new jingle that was at the beginning of the stream, at the beginning of the video here. I think it's pretty awesome. But yeah, let me know what you think. I was blown away messing around creating that with that Suno. So anyway, welcome to the Summerland show. Let's see if I can, episode number 6. And today is called It's Later. Today's show is called It's Later Than You Think. There's an Orthodox priest monk who will likely, he has been canonized as a saint in a couple places around the world. I believe in Australia and in the country of Georgia. So he said often, it's later than you think. And I believe somebody told me there's actually a song called that as well. So sit with that for a moment. It can be a little bit heavy at first. There's less time than we think. And I'm going to give you some examples from my own life. And then we are going to do a couple radical undoing exercises. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to give you what I call a cognitive experiment. It's not purely a cognitive experiment. It's also something you do with the body, but it is primarily a cognitive experiment that you can use to get clarity on any pressing situation or difficult decisions or troubling relationships that you have going on, or even just to get a much more clear and, I might even say, profound perspective on stuff that's going on in your life. So it's later than you think. That's all about mortality and death awareness. So the first thing we'll share is there was this website I saw. Let me see if I can even bring up the visual. It was how many pizzas left my life. Visual. See if I can still remember where yes, it was great. Okay, here we go. When you see these visuals, so we'll scroll through. Let's have a look. Let's just have a look at this. We'll look at this first, then I'll tell you the stories from my own life. And just making a note here. I just thought of like 20 other things I want to include. And give you a little bit of advice on how to use awareness of your own mortality to improve your life and the lives of others who you interact with. So let's have a look first at. Let's see how we can. I wonder how. I'm just work this out. Let's see. We will share. Do we share screen? Let's turn off the. Stop the music for now. How do I share? Auto add screen video to stream. Okay, I'm gonna have to experiment with this, but let's go ahead and go see if we can do. What happens if I share screen? Okay, share screen. Let's just try it. Oh, okay, cool. It does give me tabs. Okay, great. Not share tab audio. Okay, cool. Now we know how to do this. Let me see how it shows up. Okay, cool. So you can still see me. Let's see the Grim Reaper guy there. So this is a website I found many years ago. In fact, I think I saw it before 2015. Maybe that's when he edited it, but it's a nice page, and I have no context for who this guy is or what the site's about. But let's scroll down. So, in a post, he said, and this is called The Tail End. And in a post last year, we laid out the human lifespan visually by years. So here's a 90-year human life in years. And it's just interesting to visualize these things. It kind of brings it into perspective. Right here, a 90-year human life in months. A 90-year human life in weeks. And then he said he made a days chart, but it's a bit much, so he left it out. But now on this one, he includes it. So here's all the days in a 90-year human life. This is kind of crazy, right? Looks like a lot, but how many have you already used up? And he says, let's just go ahead and we'll read some of the posts. And thanks to, let's find his name here. Thanks to Tim Urban for this post. It had such an impact on me. I still remember it. So let's go through it. The days chart blows my mind as much as the weeks chart. Each of these dots is only a single Tuesday or Friday or Sunday. But even a lucky person who lives to 90 will have no problem fitting every day in their life on one sheet of paper. But since doing the Life in Weeks post, I've been thinking about something else. Instead of measuring your life in units of time, and this is where it gets pretty deep, you can measure it in activities or events. To use myself as an example, and he's 34, now he would be 44 at this point. I'm 34, so let's be super optimistic and say I'll be hanging around drawing stick figures till I'm 90. If so, I have a little under 60 winters left. And then you can see there. And maybe around 60 Super Bowls left. The ocean is freezing, and putting my body into it is a bad life experience, so I tend to limit myself to around one ocean swim a year. So as weird as it seems, I might only go in the ocean 60 more times. Now, counting research for this page or for this website, he reads about 5 books a year. So even though it feels like I'll read an endless number of books in the future, I actually have to choose only 300 of all the books out there to read and accept that I'll sign off for eternity without knowing what goes on in all the rest of the books. You're starting to feel the perspective that this gives you. So in his case, if he reads 5 books a year, and sometimes I've read less than that, sometimes I've read far more than that. It's gotten to be less and less with the more and more of the phone and computer stuff going on. So it goes. So that's all the remaining books right there, if you read 5 a year. Maybe you don't read books. Maybe that's not so meaningful to you. So let's keep going. Growing up in Boston, I went to Red Sox games all the time. But if I never move back there, I'll probably continue at my current rate of going to a Red Sox game about once every 3 years, meaning this little row of 20 represents my remaining Fenway visits. There have been 8 US presidential elections during his lifetime and about 15 to go. We've seen 5 presidents in office, and if that rate continues, he'll see about 9 more. And now here's a pizza one, which probably all of us can relate to. I probably eat pizza about once a month, so I've got about 700 more chances to eat pizza. I have an even brighter future with dumplings. I have Chinese food about twice a month, and I tend to make sure 6 dumplings occurs each time. So I have a fuck ton of dumplings to look forward to. Making a note here. Something I want to give you to inspire you. So let's scroll down here. Look at all these dumplings. It's wild. But these things aren't what I've been thinking about. Most of the things I just mentioned happen with a similar frequency during each year of my life, which spreads them out somewhat evenly through time. If I'm around a third of the way through my life, and I'm a little further along than that, he says, I'm about a third of my way through experiencing the activity or event. What I've been thinking about is a really important part of life that, unlike all of these examples, isn't spread out evenly through time. Something whose already done / still to come ratio doesn't at all align with how far I am through life. Relationships. And this one directly relates to an experience I'm having currently with my family, with one of my family members. I've been thinking about my parents who are in their mid 60s. During my first 18 years, I spent some time with my parents during at least 90% of my days. But since heading off to college and then later moving out of Boston, I've seen them on an average of only 5 times a year each, for an average of maybe 2 days each time, 10 days a year. About 3% of the days I spent with them each year of my childhood. Being in their mid 60s, let's continue to be super optimistic and say that I'm one of the incredibly lucky people to have both parents alive into my 60s. That would give us about 30 more years of coexistence. If the 10 days a year thing holds, that's 300 days left to hang with mom and dad. Less time than I spent with them in any one of my 18 childhood years. When you look at that reality, you realize that despite not being at the end of your life, you may very well be nearing the end of your time with some of the most important people in your life. If I lay out the total days I'll ever spend with each of my parents, assuming I'm as lucky as can be, this becomes starkly clear. Let's see if we can we even make that? No, we can't make it smaller. Okay. Just go like this. So look at this. Here's all the time, the days with the parents. So we scroll down, and those are all crossed off. So when you look at it's already all been done, and there's just this little bit remaining here. It turns out that when I graduated from high school, I'd already used up 93% of my in-person parent time. I'm now enjoying the last 5% of that time. We're in the tail end. It's a similar story with my 2 sisters. After living in a house with them for 10 and 13 years respectively, I now live across the country from both of them and spend maybe 15 days with each of them a year. Hopefully, that leaves us with about 15% of our total hangout time left. The same often goes for old friends. In high school, I sat around playing hearts with the same 4 guys about 5 days a week. In 4 years, we racked up 700 group hangouts. Now scattered around the country with totally different lives and schedules, the 5 of us are in the same room at the same time, probably 10 days each decade. The group is in its final 7%. So what do we do with this information? Setting aside my secret hope that technological advances will let me live to 700, I see 3 takeaways here. Living in the same place as the people you love matters. I probably have 10 times the time left with the people who live in my city as I do with the people who live somewhere else. Priorities matter. Your remaining face time with any person depends largely on where that person falls on your list of life priorities. Make sure this list is set by you, not by unconscious inertia. Number 3, quality time matters. If you're in your last 10% of time with someone you love, keep that fact in the front of your mind when you're with them and treat that time as what it actually is: precious. So we'll go ahead and stop sharing here. And thanks again to the Wait But Why website and to Mr. Tim Urban for his work on that post. Let's go ahead and stop sharing and come back over here. So that's just a little intro. And I'll now give you a couple stories from my own life. One of the first ones that comes to mind was my teacher, and I hope he's still alive. You know, I haven't checked in on him now for a few years. But my teacher, Mr. Limburn, he was my English teacher for multiple different English classes in high school. And he was such a special man. He had a long beard. And somehow, I don't know if they still continued this tradition. It wasn't in past years at my high school, but when we graduated, our graduating class got to vote for which teacher would be the speaker at the graduation. So the host and the speaker. And we voted for Thomas Limburn. And he wasn't an easy, it wasn't an easy class. You really had to work in his classes. And this will make me seem real old, but that's like the very early days when you had like Mac, I forget what they're even called, those old little robot looking like rectangle box computers that we were writing our papers on with floppy disks. But he inspired me in so many levels. One of the things was he was the only one there without a suit on, besides the graduates in the robes, and he said if anywhere requires him to wear a suit, he just doesn't go there. So he had a vest and a sweater, and looked pretty great though. And before he was an English teacher, he had been a pilot of small airplanes, and also a semi-famous jazz musician. But both of those pursuits had damaged his hearing to the degree that it was too painful or too difficult to do either of those disciplines. So then he went into teaching English. And during his speech, he gave us 3 very important points. And I'll share 2 of those with you that I still remember to this day for our graduating class, for all of us to keep in mind as we went out of high school, out of our parents' homes, and into the world, into the big, scary, and beautiful world. And one of those was, don't worry so much when you're learning something about how or when it's going to become useful or how you will apply it, that it will become evident over time and it will be there when you need it. So when you're learning something, don't necessarily get, I'm going to close the window. The dog's bugging me. Okay. Yeah, so when you're learning something, don't worry too much about when and where and how you'll use it. Just go deep with the learning itself. And I did not say that as eloquently as he did. But the second thing he said, and this brought the entire audience to tears, was that when you have something to say to someone, and primarily something like how much you care about a person, or something you really want to express, or expressing forgiveness, or asking for forgiveness from someone, repairing a connection, a relationship, a friendship, a family situation, whatever it might be, to say it now while you have the chance, because sometimes, and God forbid it happens, but it does happen, very suddenly, you lose that chance. And one example in my own life where I didn't completely miss the chance, but I feel like I really did miss the chance, and I let someone down who I didn't want to let down. And it was my earliest friends, Eric. God rest his soul. And he had somewhat of a troubled life, got really into alcohol and pills and all this kind of stuff. And that's what ended up killing him. But he had tried to call me, and we were having all these conversations. He wanted some help with, he found out that I was doing this radical undoing stuff, and he thought that I could maybe help him start to feel better about his life in his own skin. And so we had talked for quite a few hours. And at some points, he was really wasted, and it was very, very difficult to talk to him. And we would be on the phone for hours. And I gave him, a lot of time. But at some point, he was calling and leaving messages. He left a message on my voicemail saying, "Hey, man, call me back." And I had missed the call. And I waited 2 days. Let's say that was a Friday. And I waited 2 days to call him back. And then when I tried to call him back, then I found out that he had overdosed on the alcohol and pills and died. So I listened to that voice message a lot at that time. This was probably like 12 years ago at this point. And it haunted me for a long time because I felt like he was even reaching out for help. Now, chances of me helping someone who was very dependent on the alcohol and the pills and really lost in that state, and well, over the phone rather than me being there in person, was pretty minimal. There's still a chance. So for a long time, I carried that pain with me about not taking his call and not showing up when someone who I knew since I was in first grade was reaching out asking for help. So I've adapted my approach to that with people now. And if you're someone who's worked with me online or in person or both, you know that I keep in touch long after, long after whatever workshop you take or whatever sessions you do or whatever stuff you do with me, whatever courses you buy, and all of that. I try to keep tabs on and keep in touch with everybody I've ever worked with. Now, sometimes people drop away. Okay, that's fine. Some people have more private lives than others, whatever. But when it's in my power to do so, I do keep in touch with folks and check in over years and now even decades. And it's very important to me that if I can help somebody, especially with this stuff, with the undoing, with the Summerland training, that I actually do that. And I do that for life with everyone that I'll work with. Now, hopefully, people keep coming and taking the courses because they are valuable. And yeah. And Vanya says in the, we got a dark stream today, but it's also going to round out in a very positive way. So don't worry. Vanya says, my best friend killed herself after having coffee with me. I'm sorry to hear that. But that's the kind of thing that can happen. And I bet you then thought about every detail of that conversation afterwards, became more real than it probably was while you were experiencing it. So with Eric, I carried that pain for a while, and I've come to peace with it, of course. With my mom, thankfully, I took my teacher, Thomas Lindburn's advice, and I did tell her everything that there was to say. And I did forgive her for the failings in my childhood. And there was nothing left unsaid. There's still a bit of sadness at losing her because I wish she could have seen how my life progressed after she died. But there was nothing left unsaid. There was nothing left undone between us. I never had that pain. I had the pain of the loss of a parent, but I didn't have the pain of like, oh my God, I only wish I could have said this, So thank God for Thomas Lindburn and that I was able to have that connection with her, because not a lot of people have that kind of connection with their parents. And they also have real trouble forgiving them and making, seeing them as a real adult rather than just as the cartoonish outline of a father or mother. That never got updated since childhood. So that's just a little bit from my personal experience. I'm not going to share all the stories that I had in mind because I want to get to a concept and a couple exercises, and then the final cognitive experiment that I want to leave you with, which is called the I know it's called the deathbed something, but why am I forgetting? We can call it the deathbed experiment, but maybe it's the deathbed view. It's funny, how am I forgetting that? I designed the exercise. Let's see if I got it here. Anyhow, so you'll get that. Oh, what's going on? It looked like my stream. Let me know that this is still working fine. The stream started. Here we go. Let's take a look at that. Okay, let's see here. We'll call it the deathbed view. I don't need to overthink it, right? Let's see what we got here. No, that's not it. One more check. Okay. I don't have the name of it, but we'll call it the deathbed view. And Vanya says, for years I thought about that conversation. Yeah. Now, what if we were to approach every connection and conversation? Maybe it's impossible. Maybe we run on autopilot for some, to make life somewhat easier. But what if we approached every single conversation, every single connection, every single person, every single situation with the awareness that it is both the first and last time that you will be having that experience or communicating with that person? Yes, you may see them again later, okay? But there's going to be a time that's the actual last time. So a mindset switch that you can do right away is to treat every experience, so like a sunset or a sunrise. Now, I've never heard someone say, like if someone says, "Oh, come check out this sunrise, it's amazing." Oh, no, I've already seen a sunrise, right? How absurd is that? Oh, no, I've already seen a sunrise, so I don't need to see any more of those. I've already seen a sunset. No, that's fine. It's absurd to say that, right? But in a way, when we don't treat the people that are important in our lives with that kind of awareness, then what are we actually doing? What are you actually doing if you're not bringing that level of importance and awareness to every connection, to every communication, and to the things that you are doing in your life? Then what else are you doing then? What level of awareness are you bringing, and why? So, like I said, this can be kind of heavy, and in a certain sense, the truth of the matter of our lives and of our mortality is absolutely beautiful, but it is tinged with a little bit of sorrow. But we can pay that price in a lump sum all at once when a person just disappears from our lives, or we can pay that price of sorrow on a constant basis, on a moment by moment basis. There's a song line by my favorite musician, Bonnie Prince Billy, on the song New Black Rich Tusks, which is such a funny name, that says, "I'll say goodbye before we meet." Now, I don't know how he intends that, but the way I interpret it is you're acknowledging the temporary or temporal nature of the temporary nature of each person and of each connection at the beginning of it. And it brings things into such a more sharp and crisp and complete view. So try to remember as you go through your day, even just look at the tiny little details of things. I just look over, I see the curvature of this cup. It's like just the design of it, and just says Sretan Božić, which means Merry Christmas. But I like the little tree and the little swoop of color, almost like a shout out to Marc Chagall or something. But when I look at it with the deathbed view, Even the feel of the porcelain, just slightly cooler than the air temperature on my hand, or the ceramic, whatever it is. And I remember where I got that mug, and it was during a particularly beautiful pre-Christmas couple of weeks. And if you bought these special Christmas tea boxes, you got that mug with it. And I'm a sucker for when they put stuff in packages with a cup. So I bought a bunch of those that year. I made it a point to like go to these different grocery stores and find packaged stuff with like mugs and things. And I remember the taste of the tea. And I remember the people who are around, people who are very dear to me. One of whom I haven't spoken with since that period, sadly. And the other one who I do keep in touch with, but we were hanging out almost every day for like a year and a half, and then it just suddenly kind of stopped. I still keep in touch with her pretty regularly, but the circumstances aren't the same as they were. We just don't get to spend that much time together. I can say with that situation that I was firmly aware at all times of the temporary nature of that situation, and we lived it to the fullest. I can say that with deep satisfaction. But I want you to think in your life, when you're going through your days, try to see each item. When you look around, when you see each thing, even when you're doing some work, whatever, about each person you see, to try and hold that in your mind, that it's both the first and last time that you're going to be having that experience with them, and try to drink up the richness and beauty of it, and then bring the best of yourself to that situation. Maybe instead of some sarcastic comment, you could just bring understanding, or just listening, or just connection. Whatever it is, whatever the situation is asking of you. So just try to remember that each time is the first and the last time. It's the first and last time you're going to see that sunrise. It's the first and last time you're going to see that sunset. Maybe it's the first and last time you get to use your legs or your hands or to eat a meal, as we saw in that tail end post at the beginning of the stream. And just always remember, it's later than you think on all levels. So with that said, let's lighten the load a little bit, and we will do a couple of face stretches. And I also want to say, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you click like. It really helps the channel. And if you enjoy this, please share it with friends, enemies, and family. And also, should also point out that on Monday, April 21st, in the Summerland Academy for Radical Undoing Facebook group, we will be having beginning the 12-day Summerland challenge. It's amazing. Some people have gotten over years worth or decades worth of social anxiety, like in the first 4 days of that. Sometimes it can take longer, but it'll blow your mind. The results you'll get just from that 12-day challenge. Even in the first couple of days, you'll experience the goodness of it. And then right after that, we'll be launching the next round of the Summerland intensives. So if you want to go from the challenge and keep that momentum going, then I'll invite you. If you make it through the challenge, then I will invite you into the Summerland intensive. And also, if you do complete the challenge, you'll get a really cool bonus from me. And it's a secret for now, but you'll understand when you get into the challenge. So if you want to get in that, make sure you're in the Facebook group, number one, and there'll be an event there. But also make sure that you are on the email list. So the email list is at the registration form is at summerland.radicalundoing.com/email. And we'll show that on the stream here just so you can see it. So make sure you're on the email list. That's where I update everybody about these things. That's where you'll find out. And there's a lot that's going to be changing very soon on the website and on the way that I do all the groups and everything. So Make sure that you're on the email list because that's going to be the easiest place and the best place to get updates on all things Summerland and all things Radical Undoing. And we're going to be expanding the Summerland private community very soon, and then expanding to about 3 to 4 group calls per week, including 2 full Radical Undoing sessions a week, depends on which level that you want to get involved with, and then all the training I've ever created, which is insane amount of stuff to deal with, but it'll be organized in a beautiful way for you to go through it. And so that's all going to be coming soon. Just make sure you get on the email list, and then you'll get notified about all that. And then hopefully, also very excited to return to this, but we'll be doing a private workshop at a hidden place, a very beautiful little estate here, not in the city in Osijek, but in rural Croatia. So it'll be an adventure just for you to arrive there. So hopefully we'll be doing that very, very soon. So all that stuff, like I said, the best thing is get on the email list, and then make sure you're subscribed on the YouTube channel. Click like, share, whatever. It really helps the channel. So thank you for that. And again, the email list is summerland.radicalundoing.com/email. Or if you go to radicalundoing.com and click subscribe, I think it takes you there. But as I said, I'm doing a bunch of fixes and upgrades on everything. So everything's kind of a mess on the website right now. So forgive me for that. But if you have any questions, just send me an email or message me on Facebook, whatever, and I'll get you sorted. So what we're going to do is 2 Radical Undoing exercises, 2 of the ones that we've been doing on each of the Summerland show streams. And then I'm going to explain to you the death view, the deathbed experiment. So let's do 3 minutes of face stretches right now. I will set the timer for 3 minutes, and we'll go ahead and go. If you've never done it before, you want to twist and move and flex and contract all the muscles of your face. So the forehead, eyebrows, eyeballs, different directions, eyelids, cheeks, nostrils, lips, tongue, and jaw. And we're just going to twist and move. Do it along with me. I mean, you can watch me, but maybe I look like crazy when I'm doing it, but you look like a total idiot if you're just sitting there watching and not getting the benefits from it. So let's do the face stretches, a simple twist of face. Oh God, I just keep going. Just twist and move. Twist and move, twist and move. And make sure you continue breathing the whole time. And best if you're breathing into your belly and into your chest. One other thing you can do to help the channel is after the video is done, it'll either be in the live tab, it'll be in both places, live tab, and then on the videos tab on the channel. If you could, you can come and comment on it once it's already once it gets made a video as well. That would be awesome. And you can, if you hate the stream too, you can comment that. It really doesn't matter, but just you can comment good things, comment bad things, whatever you like, but just put some comments on there that are relevant to the stream, of course. And if there's some automatic sounds like that come up, go ahead and yield to those. They're pretty fun. So about 50 seconds more. Keep twisting, moving. Try to do different combinations of the face muscles. Try to freak yourself out with different faces. And remind yourself to keep on breathing. Yawns take precedence. There we go. the end of that, you want to hold one face really tight. Take a full inhalation. And when you exhale, let the face relax. Like, let your jaw hang loose and open. Let the eyes relax. Let the tongue relax in the mouth. Take a couple of breaths and just feel the effects of the face stretch. Now, if you've watched every episode of the Summerland show, now you've hopefully done this exercise at least 6 times. Even better if you do it more times, but at least once a day. A couple breaths, and then we'll do the then we're going to do the Atlas shrugged. So we're going to pull the shoulders up toward the ears like this, nice and tight. Pull them up and up and up and up and up, and hold, hold, hold. Keep on breathing. Breathe in the belly, breathe in the chest, and yawns still do take precedence, but continue pushing the shoulders up. And if you watched episode 5 about you have no idea how to relax, you'll know that you should relax into the intensity of the shoulder exercise. And you know, it was about to go on forever because I didn't set a timer, but we'll go ahead and set a timer here. Just remember, keep pulling your shoulders up. There we go. Keep pulling your shoulders up and keep on reminding yourself to breathe. And just keep pulling up and up and up and up and up. And keep on breathing. Make sure your neck's not locked back like that. And make sure that your hands and arms and everything else in your body is just loose and relaxed. Keep inhaling in the belly and chest. Full breaths, not forced breaths. 40 seconds more. It should be pretty uncomfortable at this point and warm, but don't fight it inside your mind. Just relax into it, okay? Just relax into the intensity of the exercise. 30 seconds. 20 seconds more. Okay, keep on going. About 10 seconds more. Stop the timer here. Okay, now pull your shoulders up even tighter. Take a full inhalation. Hold the breath. You can even make a crazy face again if you want. And then hold, hold, hold. Keep the shoulders up. Hold the face tight. Hold, hold, hold. And then we're going to count 3, 2, 1 and thrust the shoulders down with some force with an ah sound. 3, 2, 1 and like that. And then you can shake them out a little bit if you want. Roll them forward, roll them backward, or do this kind of move. You can stretch and twist your shoulders this way and this way after you're done. But most of all, relax, close your eyes, let the jaw drop. And if you yawn, make loud sounds, stretch open the jaw. You'll get much more release in the whole body from the yawns that way. And just feel the effects of the exercises for a moment. And then I'm going to give you the deathbed view. This is very simple in its instructions, but you really have to use your imagination for this one to make it work. And you have to kind of make it real for yourself. And now I want you to remember, we don't know when the last moment is. So when you do this exercise, in a way, it is the truth. We're all looking out on our lives from the deathbed, but some of us forgot about it because we're trapped inside the hellish snow globe of the mind, where it seems like we're going to have infinite amount of time with people, with places, with situations. So the deathbed view, you sit on the edge of your bed, or you could lay down. But for this, you want to sit down and have a pen and paper handy, or a recorder if you like to take notes that way, transcriber, however you like to do it. You just sit on the edge of the bed and you look back on your life as it is now. situations, and specifically if you have a situation you want to sort out, or a relationship with a person that's troubling you, or any other issue, and you look back on your life as if you're way in the future on your deathbed, and look at how you were doing things, and then from there, think about how you wish things would have gone. And I specifically mean think about how you wish you would have done things differently from the deathbed view when you're looking back and contemplating your life. So from that view, then you can just sit and write, and sometimes you'll get your answer immediately. If there's a big decision you need to make, you look back on your life as if you made that decision 20 years ago, and now you're at your deathbed contemplating it. How do you wish you would have behaved? How do you wish you would have treated people differently? What do you wish you would have done more of? What do you wish you would have done less of? Do you want to, play more guitar, do more art, do more business, spend more time at the ocean or the river, or spend less time complaining? Okay. And you guys can put in the comments anything that comes to mind for you right away. But what I'd like is if you do the exercise, sit there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, get the deathbed view of your life. And this is something you could do every single day as well. You could look back at your day from the perspective of the deathbed. And then write a little bit. How do you wish you would have done things differently? And then set out the following day to follow those instructions, to follow those new approaches. So that's the deathbed view. Sit at the edge of the bed, look back at your life, and see how do you wish you would have done things different? Not how should have other people done things different. That's out of our control. How would you do things different if you could go back? And then, of course, unless, God forbid, you actually die right after the exercise, wouldn't that be something? Then it's like you are shot back in time, back to the present, from the place you were contemplating from the deathbed view from. It's like you're transported back in time and you get to do things over again. So that's what it's meant to instill in you, is the view of, wow, I have this opportunity in my hands right now. How will I use it? So that's what I got for you today. Remember, it's later than you think. And when you can view other people and situations and experiences from the deathbed view, they are going to look a lot different, and you will start to become a different, and I would say a better person. So go forth, try it out. And what I would say is, after you try it out, come back to the video and please leave a comment sharing your experience. If it is something private, you can always send me a message too, but I would love to hear from you. What did you get from the deathbed view? And also, did you try the exercises? Did you do the face stretches? Did you do the shoulders? And if you did, how did it go for you? And as always, you can put in the comments as well any kind of topics you'd like me to cover in future streams, or also any issues or problems you're having in your life that you think Radical Undoing or the Summerland training might be able to address or help you solve. And I will cover that in future streams, or even in future workshops that I put on. But remember, get on the email list, summerland.radicalundoing.com/email. Put that up here again. Make sure you get on the email list. That's where you're going to get notified as I upgrade everything with the websites and launch the new Summerland Academy and community. You'll be able to access all the trainings I've ever made. And then there's going to be a really cool onboarding call when you join the academy. It's also cool. You'll be able to pay by the week, or by the month, or by the year, with progressive discounts at the yearly rate. And then when we do an onboarding call, I'll ask you some key questions and find out exactly what's going on in your life. And then we'll structure your approach to the training according to what's going to give you the most benefit the fastest with the least amount of effort. And then structure out a whole year of the training. And then we'll have weekly Q&A calls, kind of unlimited weekly Q&A calls, so that you'll always be, even if you fall off or if you mess up in the training or if you have questions, that we can always get you headed straight back on the right path with the Radical Undoing with the Summerland trainings. And you'll get to meet some of the folks who've been doing it for a lot of years. And then at the same time, we will be doing, like I said, you'll have the option for 1 or 2 full Radical Undoing sessions a week. And then there'll be special group runs of the 12-week trainings, the elite training, the various intensives, and the other work. So we're going to have a lot of fun groups going on behind the scenes. Beautiful and thriving private community. So we're not sitting around wasting time on Facebook and Instagram and all that crap. I'm building the private community, and where you can share all kinds of cool stuff. And they'll be able to just touch base. And that's how this work really, really starts to help you thrive and grow, is when you can do it alongside a group and have like a weekly check-in rather than just reading some book, and there will be books coming up, but as part of all this, but rather than just sitting and reading a book alone in your house or sitting alone doing some of the Radical Undoing exercises. Yes, they will work, but the real magic happens in connection with other people, and the results go way faster and the difficulties become way easier to endure. So with all that said, that's what's coming up soon. Want to be notified, get on the email list. I email almost every day and try to give you something valuable in there, as well as if you want to upgrade into one of the paid programs, then you'll find that in the emails. I think that's all for today. Remember, it's later than you think. And as always, I gotta like adjust this camera so I'm not like down here like this. Remember, it's later than you think. And as always, much love. God bless. Talk to you again. I think on Monday. I might do a special weekend stream, but I got a pretty packed weekend. So we'll probably see you for the Summerland show, episode 7 on Monday. And then Monday evening is when Monday evening, my time, 8 p.m. Central European time, 2 p.m. Eastern US time, the Summerland 12-day challenge will begin in the Facebook group. Okay, again, much love and God bless.